Bar here, and welcome to my blog, BarXMD. And my focus of my blog is going to be mostly aging, anti-aging, longevity, vitality, how to have a vivacious and long life, healthy and strong. So, most of these episodes will be addressing different things, but the first episode I will be talking in general. If we have a patient coming to our practice, we generally look at a whole picture, and I would call this like either a circle or a pie, and there's quarters of each of the points that we're going to be discussing that are important and vital to be assessed to find out and compare the chronologic age from the biologic age, and then also have a life expectancy if somebody wants to know what their life expectancy projections. So the first part that we would like to address in a patient when they come to see us is their DNA, and DNA is the genetic code. We're born with it, but however, some of it is turned on or off. So DNA is not really something that is determined at our birth, that's what's going to decide our future, because not all the DNA is activated on or off. We know now that epigenetics is more important in determining how our DNA is going to behave in the future. Of course, DNA damage should be assessed. Another topic that we would like to evaluate is the telomere and telomere attrition, because telomere is the little teeny part at the end of your DNA that determines how many times your DNA is going to divide and produce and regenerate. So looking at mutations or SNPs that are important. So this is the first evaluation part. The genetic theory should be addressed and evaluated to find out through a test what is your chronologic age and what's your biologic age. And if you want to know life expectancy, we can also have that projection. Next quarter would be the hormones. As we age, hormones, of course, become less produced, so the levels are decreasing each decade. And of course, we measured those, not only one hormone, not only the sex, not only the metabolic, not only the sleep hormones. We check the growth hormone, every hormone that we can actually check for metabolic pathways. And also another thing that we like to check for is neurotransmitters. These are typical tests that are not usually checked in the regular clinic. If your doctor checks one point or level out in some of the hormones, but not all of them. Of course, we would like to know how metabolically your hormones are affecting your sugar, your lipids, your protein metabolism. And it's an intense panel. So we really need to check all these hormones before we decide on balancing and evaluating how we're going to raise the levels. The next thing in that same quarter is the mitochondria. Mitochondria is our powerhouse, and it's very important. Most people don't test for mitochondria function. It is very important because it's almost the currency that makes your cell, kind of like, it's almost the currency that you need to get the cell to work in every part of your body. So mitochondrial dysfunction is very important to address, so evaluate that. And then of course we revitalize the mitochondrial functions, and there's so many peptides that we can work on, and some certain medications that actually can help the mitochondria to be revived and regenerated, which is very important because that was a direct link. Recent studies show with the mitochondrial dying, that is the aging process that we see in a lot of patients. The next quarter would be our inflammation. The inflammation is a very important thing that we know. Chronic inflammation is now one of the serious issues that our tissues become, unfortunately, less resilient and eventually die. So chronic inflammation should be addressed. Toxic and environmental toxins, these are things that are available for us now to find out how we can evaluate environmental heavy metal toxins or pesticides or any of the biotoxins that we see now in the lab that we sometimes have to address. Of course, oxidation, glycosylation, all these things are part of your free radical theory. Think about it as an important part that we need to keep the cells in a clean state so that they can function better. So free radical theory or chronic inflammation should be addressed. The further next step would be evaluating the immune system, which is very important. We now know after the 30s we lose the thymus, so all the cells that are being activated by the thymus are just declining at this point. So T cell functions is evaluated, B cell functions. These are also very advanced tests that we check. There's like direct correlation now that if immune system is weakened, that's how old age creates, unfortunately, the risk for cancer or autoimmune disease, arthritis and stuff like that. So we know that is a proven, not even theory anymore. So we want to make sure that your immune system is resilient after evaluating and finding the levels. And of course, the immune system, the most important part that we address in the immune system is the stem cells. And that is the final icing on the cake, where we, after addressing all these issues, DNA repair, helping your hormonal balance, mitochondrial rejuvenation, revitalization, antioxidation, and detoxification. Now, immune vitality is important, and reversing the senescence and immune system. And the very final step would be doing stem cells. And the stem cells is, of course, the cells that heal, repair, and regenerate, whether the same like cell or whatever is needed to create healing and repairing and regeneration of the tissues again. So this is in a ballpark how we address aging process. It is considered now as a chronic disease. It is a specialty. Not everybody works on aging the way we do. So we manage your aging process. So it's a management that we actually like to make sure not only that we create an anti-aging protocol for you, but create that improved resilience, regeneration, and reverse the biologic clock. So maybe we can add 5, 10 years, 11 years to a person's life that are in health. So this is in generally how we address the aging process in our practice, in the longevity